we're going to build a brake drum forge. There are a bunch of YouTube videos out here that shows how to build these brake drum forges. And I'm going to use some of the features I've seen in the builds here. I'm going to take the best ideas and incorporate them into this one. This is going to be a Christmas present for my #1 son, George. And the first thing I'm going to do that's a little different is the brake drum forges that I've seen are all standing on tripod legs and they're close to the ground. When I saw this Harbor Freight tool cart on sale for $29.95, I said I can't pass that up. So I'm going to build it using the tool cart as the base. Now these screws were a pain to put in because what they did is they assembled all the screws. Now it's a good way to make sure you're not missing any parts. But if you look at these screws, they're all put together and you got to take them apart and then put them in the holes and then put them back together. So we'll try to get through this part of the video as quickly as possible because this is not the heart of the build. The forge is the heart of the build. This is just a feature of the build. It gets the forge up off the ground and at a height that you can stand around and work on. So now we got it basically put together and we're going to square it up and tighten up the screws. I'm really trying to speed through this for you. And now we're almost ready for the next part. Okay, next part of the build. We need a brake drum. We have a brake drum. First thing you do, get the studs out. That's too much work. We're going to use the press. You know, I moved this brake drum around a bunch during this build. And I'll tell you, I felt like I'd been in the gym lifting weights after the build. Now we got these holes. We got to plug the holes up. Why not cut these studs off and put it back in the holes? So here we go. That's too slow. Ouch, that's hot. You'd think I'd learn. Use needle nose. Holes plugged. Alright, now we gotta take the seal out. If I cared about this seal, I don't worry about it. I'd do this differently. I don't care about it. Seal gone. Probably ought to save this bearing. That bearing reappears in a project yet to be posted. Now, in case you guys don't know, there's actually little notches inside the hub to allow you to get a punch on the inside of the race. And this might save my fingers. So find the notch. one on either side, and the race comes out. And I'm out of roll. Now we'll do the same thing on the other side. Races out. That's a perfect good race. I'm going to save it. So let's do a little cleanup and move on to the next step. So the next job is to get this thing to sit into here. So we got to cut a hole in here. So let me get set up for that. Now what I'm doing here is laying some masking tape down. 15.5, 7 3/4. I didn't want to put marks on the bottom of the tray. So this is all pretty self-explanatory here. So I'll just sit back and let you watch for a little bit. Now I taped a flare on the end of the compass, and I'll draw myself a little circle. Old I am by referring to these fine line markers as a flare. I'm going to drill myself a center hole so the compass will stay in a spot. And then I'll drill a hole on the outside that I can get the saber saw blade into to cut out the circle. One grade A circle. Let's see if the drum fits in a hole. Wow, it fits. I thought I could make a slight improvement here. The brake drum forges that have been posted just use brake drum, but I don't think it's deep enough. Well, there are some forges that have been built out of the drums off a tractor trailer, and those were a nice depth, but I didn't have that available. So what I'm going to do is cut wings and put them on the inside of the drum to form a V, and that will allow my son to build a deeper fire. I think that'll work better. Now, the best way I've found to cut metal this thick is to use a plasma cutter, and I'm starting to learn how to use it. That'll actually become the end cap, which you'll see later. Now we'll cut this piece of metal in half, and that'll be the two wings. One of the problems with cutting with the plasma cutter is that it creates a jagged edge. So we're going to have to clean that up, and we'll do that with a grinder over on the vise. Okay, let's put these things in the drum and see how they fit. Not bad. We'll put it on the ground. And we'll put the drum inside the cart. And you can see I put a grid inside the top there so the chunks of coal won't fall down and clog up the pipe. That's a pretty good fit. So what we'll do is weld this up. This is pretty heavy metal, and it was fun to weld. Normally I'm welding such thin stuff. Alright, now I took that piece that fell off first and I cut a half moon in it. And I'm going to fill the end of the drum there between the upright. Didn't want the fire coming up the back side of that. Time for some more welding. I'm starting to get half decent. I'm sure some professional welder will look at that and say, oh my gosh, but I'm not welding tight.
So what I've decided, this is pretty heavy for this cart. You have to remember this cart is a Harbor Freight Special. It's supposed to be good for 300 pounds. But this is pretty heavy for one area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a grid that runs here, here, and across here. So I support the weight in the corners, which is the strong point of the cart. And I'm going to do it so that this thing sits on this grid, on these lugs. And what that's going to do is give me an airspace between the cart and this forge, so that this thing doesn't have to stand up to the heat that's going to be generated by this.
At least, not as much.
So let's get started. We need two 27-inch pieces to start.
So, let's cut number one. The sawzall actually looks pretty good. We'll mark off number two.
And another piece. Big enough? Boy, that's just... It might work.
Well, best thing to do then is check it and see. I'll lay this piece up here and go get two side grids and lay them down and see what it looks like.
I think that'll work. I got this grinder in a tray.
Now what we're doing here is we're putting a little bevel on each edge and grind off the end just to take the sharpness off. And with the bevel, it's a little easier to get a good weld.
I like it. I just wish it had a little more power. Spoiler alert, I have a new grinder coming. A Delta 12-inch disc. I'm going to mount it right there, I think. Might be another project. Here's the grid.
Okay, final layout. We'll test fit this. Looks good.
And that'll support that. This will sit right down into there. Got to put it in the right place. Here's a little hint. These things get metal shavings on them because they're magnets. The way to get them off is just blow them off with an air gun.
And the reason you don't want the grit between the magnet and the object for welding is because it won't be square. The grindings will hold the angle incorrectly. Okay, I think this is truly the last time we're going to put this together. These magnets really help. Let's measure it, make sure we got it right.
Why do you always have more lefts than rights?
Actually, I was wrong there. It's more rights than lefts. And there's a reason for it. Because you burn holes in your left. And you end up with too many rights. They ought to sell just lefts.
Let's see what we got.
Let's test fit it.
That. Like that. Something I haven't told you about is I was worried about, this is great for doing ends of things, but what if you go through? So I cut a notch here. I didn't record it. I cut a notch here. This thing, you sit down there like that, so you got that. If you want to heat something in the center, pull that out and it lays across there real nice. Okay. We welded a nipple into the bottom of the T, a 3-inch nipple, a 6-inch nipple with a cap. The idea is that when you burn coal, the ashes fall through and into here, you take the cap off, you can empty it out. Now you need a blower to create draft. So what we've got here is a $9 hair dryer. And the important part of this thing is it has a button here that you can push, which turns off the heating element, which means it's just a fan. So we have to have that button pushed in so it doesn't blow hot air. And we'll figure out a way of doing that. Maybe we put a hose clamp around that. Maybe we take it apart and disable it. We'll do one of those things.
Now I thought it'd be easier to be able to turn this thing on and off without having to stoop down and turn the hairdryer on. So I'm going to put a switch box with a switch on the side of the cart. Hey, did you notice I got a second camera? Now I got a second shot. This way you can see what I'm doing. Anyway, we're going to mount this switch on the leg, the little angle bracket that I made. And I want to make sure I get this on good and tight. It might fall off. So the cord is made out of a utility cord, so it's plenty heavy. Now when I put this cart together at the beginning of this video, I spared you the pain of me putting the casters on the bottom of the cart. But I can't wait any longer. It's time to put the casters on. I'll only put the 2 on. I'll save you the pain of the other 2. Magically, there's going to be 4 on the bottom of this cart. I put the swivel caster at the back where the handle is. Now you're going to see why I've really been waiting. The casters add extra height to the cart. And to try to put the stuff in the cart for test fitting, well, it was up on the workbench with the casters on, adds too much height. On top of that, the cart likes to roll around on you. So when you try to put the brake drum into the cart's trying to run away from you. Well, I guess it's strong enough. assembly here. Stick the blow dryer in. Plug it in. And switch it on. It works.
So one of the problems is that this either is on low or high, and it may not be the right amount of air. So what I want to be able to do is control the amount of air. So what I was thinking is I'd put a slide on here and put a hole here so that it can slide over the top of the hole and control the amount of air. But I also want to keep it from rotating like this. So I'm going to put a runner here, a runner there, so this can't slide this way, this can't slide that way. Okay, we did make the slide. Slides open, slides shut, turn it on, you can control the amount of air. And I did put a hose clamp around this button that just makes it just a fan. So the last thing to do is to put some wood in it or charcoal and see what it does.
So it was cold out here. Let's make a fire. Now, I'm using briquettes here, but coal would be much better. I couldn't find any coal. That's going to be an interesting thing to find a source for coal. Look, I didn't have to get down and blow on it. So as the paper burned up, I added more coal. Charcoal, I'm sorry. Got coal and bring. I did try to find some, but I couldn't find it. It actually seemed like when this fan was on high, it was trying to blow it out, but now it's really going. Everybody likes to play with fire. All right, let's see what it does. The object is to get the bar red hot so we can hammer on it. Let's see what we got. I guess that's hot enough. If you liked the video, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe. Be safe.